Let me just say, after view distorting the belt, they're proclaiming the real world champion. I'm going to tell you all, with a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life. When you walk around this world and you tell everybody you're number one, the only way you get to stay number one is to be number one.
Woo! Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network, powered up by the Belly Up Sports Network of podcasts. Sit back and enjoy as we bring you the latest and greatest in the world of sports, everything from the Detroit Lions to the state of Michigan sports to around the country and around the world. So what are you waiting for? Let's get out there and let's watch the latest edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. And indeed, welcome to another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza live on the Captain Lou Sports Network, which you can find on YouTube. Just look that up, Captain Lou Sports Network, and you will indeed find that. Or you can watch me right now live on my Twitter feed, which is at The Real Captain Lou, or on my Facebook page, which is also at Lewis Gamlin. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. You know, I was only going to do my Captain Lou six-pack challenge, but I thought, I'm going to keep it going. I was going to rant a little bit about football with my Detroit Lions, and I know I am going to rant about that. So I'm not even worried about that. What a finish in Major League Baseball. The playoffs are starting. MLB is it's going strong already, and what a finish this afternoon. Just before we came on the air, it looked like Seattle might have a chance to steal Game 1. What were they up 7-3? They got Verlander for 6 earned runs in 4 innings. Who would have thought that was going to happen, right? 10 hits, and boy, it just looked like Seattle was carrying that momentum from that huge comeback against Toronto. Did any of you see that? That was amazing. Well, anyways, they carried that into Houston, and they were up 7-3. Then it became 7-5. And as my good friend Jimmy Young said on Facebook a few minutes ago, you know where you can stick the analytics. This one's for old-time baseball, baby. 8-7, Alvarez with a 3-run jack, 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. It doesn't get any better than that if you're a baseball fan. 8-7 Houston over Seattle. They literally steal Game 1. Victory from the jaws of defeat. That's why they're probably the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl or the World Series in my book. They've got the depth, they've got the pitching, and they've got Dusty Baker. I'm rooting for him. He's an old-time manager from way back. I hope that he gets it. He can kind of throw it in Tony La Russa's face. I tend to agree with Dan Patrick, who said Tony La Russa is one of the reasons why baseball is kind of stuck in the quagmire that they are now for all this second guessing and whatever. But with all this pitching analytics crap that he started way back in the day. But boy, baseball playoffs are out to a great start. Earlier today, Philadelphia defeated Atlanta 7-5, but that was a nail biter towards the end. Atlanta almost came back as Philly almost blew a big lead. So MLB predictions, I'm going to bring them to you in a second. The playoffs are off to a great start if you're a baseball fan, especially in the playoffs like I am. Wow, man, it's a great start, isn't it? The NHL starts tonight. That's why I got my Red Wings shirt on. The eternal optimist that I am. I'm not saying Detroit Red Wings for the Stanley Cup playoffs, but you know what? Maybe they could get inch closer to possibly a playoff berth. No Stanley Cup yet, but you can always believe, right? We're all starting 0-0-0, or however they do it, 0-0-0-0. I don't know, but Stanley Cup playoff is here. The chase begins for the best trophy in all of sports. That is Lord Stanley's Cup. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We do have our Captain Lou six-pack challenge. Congratulations to the 9 people that beat me last week and only going 2-4 in my picks. So a little bit later on, we will have another edition of that Captain Lou six-pack challenge, which basically what that is if you think you can beat me in the picks that I bring you, 3 pro, 3 college against the spread, You do better than me on those picks, then you're in for that chance to get in the drawing for some great prizes at the end of the year. We got a $100 Visa gift card, and we got a Fanatics gift card as well, just to name a few. And that's every week. We're going to give you our picks. How do you become part of that contest, you ask? All you got to do, follow me on Twitter at The Real Captain Lou, or on Facebook, The Captain Lou Extravaganza, or do what most people do, send me an email, sweetlou1965@yahoo.com, with your picks of the games that I'm going to talk about a little bit later on. And we will be there for your chance to be in the drawing for those prizes that we will give away at the end of the college football season, the day after the national championship game, which is second week of January. I'll get that date. I told you last week I'd get the date. Kind of forgot already, but a lot going on in my sports world with high school football. I got to start back at Aquinas College hockey. Got me in the mood for the NHL. Man, one of my favorite times of year. Baseball playoffs getting underway. Yanks and Cleveland about to start here. Actually, they probably first pitch in minutes. And then, of course, the Dodgers and the Padres a little bit later on tonight. So all four divisional series get underway tonight. Then they've got 2 tomorrow, I believe, and 2 on Thursday. They go kind of stagger them a little bit, which is good. So a lot to look forward to in the world of sports. So stick around here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza. We'll have that 6-pack challenge for you coming up real soon. Hey, let's get back to our MLB predictions for the playoffs, shall we? Now, honest to God, my head said Atlanta in that opening series against Philadelphia. We talk and you hear about it, and you wonder how much of a distraction or how much rust is going to come into play. How much is it going to hurt some of these teams for being off a week? How much does momentum come into play in some of these playoff games, series? Well, Philadelphia took the momentum. They went into St. Louis and, they swept them. They're pitching. And that's where I think it's going to come down to pitching in all of these series. Except maybe the Houston series. I think maybe, they've got a better pitching staff, but I just think overall they've got a better team than Seattle. The Mariners are a great story, but we'll talk about that in a second. Philly and Atlanta. Atlanta won the World Series last year. They're defending champs. You know how difficult it is to go back-to-back. There hasn't been a team to do that in quite a long time. Well, I just don't know if it's going to happen this year. My heart wants to say the Braves are going to win this series. I teetered back and forth on it, but I'm going to stick with them. I think they're going to win it, but it's going to go 5. It's a best of 5. Watch out for Philadelphia, though. They've got some sticks on that team. Obviously, they flexed their muscles a little bit today with winning 7-5 over Atlanta. We'll see if they come down. We'll see if Atlanta can bounce back. I'm going to say Atlanta in 5 in this one. I just think overall their pitching staff is just a little bit better than Philadelphia's. My buddy Mitch Bernstein, diehard Phillies fan, you'll probably disagree with me on this one, but I just think Atlanta's going to do it. In the series that just started a little while ago and just finished, rather, we talked about Houston, and we talked about Houston and Seattle. Seattle came in with that momentum. How many of you watched Saturday night in that comeback, that epic comeback for Seattle over Houston? It's funny because when I went up, I was on my way up to Grand Rapids, about an hour drive to do my hockey game Saturday night. 8-1 the score was. I pulled into the ice arena. I'm thinking, it's over. They're going to have game 3 on Sunday. It should be a good epic game there to decide who plays Houston. I get set up. We do the first period. I go into intermission, come out, kind of catch my breath a little bit. There's a TV outside, and I see it. It's 10-9, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, and Toronto pops up, and they lose the game. Incredible. If you would have told me that was going to happen, I'd have said you're crazy. Absolutely crazy. But, that's how it goes, man. It really is. So now my thing is, can Seattle ride that momentum into Houston? I didn't think they could. And they had me fooled for about 8 innings and 2 outs. I thought Seattle was going to hang on. I thought their bullpen could do it. But they taxed that bullpen, and Houston's just the better team. And I talked to a buddy of mine, and he can verify with me, a friend that I've had on my podcast many times, Todd Corder. I said it was going to be Houston in 4. I still think it is. Now, this could be a back-breaking loss. Houston was able to win despite a poor outing from Justin Verlander, but I'm going to say Houston's still going to do it in 4 games. So there's that. The Yankees and the Guardians. I told Todd, and we were talking via text message, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Guardians win this series. I'm going to tell you why. It all comes down to pitching in a short series like this. I like Cleveland's bullpen better than I like New York's. And I also like their starting pitching better than New York's. Yeah, New York's got the sticks. They got Aaron Judge, who more than likely is going to be the MVP. They've got Stanton. They've got the bombers. But do they have the pitching? And I still think good pitching is going to beat good hitting. And I just think that's my upset special. Not because I dislike the Yankees, but I just think Cleveland, you got to pick an upset anyways, right? So I'm going to go with Cleveland in 4 in this one. I think that they're going to split in New York, and then they're going to win 2 in Cleveland. They're going to shock the world. I could be way off on this one, but I'm just going out on a limb. I just like their pitching. Yeah, I'm a Central Division fan. I'd love to see it. They took care of business in their opening round series against Tampa Bay. I just love their pitching right now, and their pitching is really on a roll. Again, they're playing the Bronx Bombers, Aaron Judge, the whole bit. I get it, but I think there's some distractions right now at New York. Chapman's not on the roster. I don't know how much that's going to play into it, but I'm still going to say, give me the Guardians in 4. I really believe that. Finally, the Dodgers and the Padres. How many chances do the Padres get against the Dodgers? The Padres, everybody, they've been the sexy pick over the years to do some damage. The Dodgers, to me, are I've said this every year. They're the 2020s version or the 2010s version of the 90s Atlanta Braves. All these division championships, and they've won 1 World Series, and they've got the best team money can buy. Well, I think they're going to beat San Diego. San Diego with a beautiful win, crushing win over the Mets. And so now they get to play Los Angeles. I think they can steal a game from LA, but I think that's about it. I'm going to go with the Dodgers in 4. I think they may lose one in San Diego, but it's going to be the Dodgers in 4. So that means you're looking at a Dodgers-Braves series and a Cleveland-Houston series. Give me Houston and the Dodgers in the World Series again. Why not? We'll talk more about that coming up next week, as well as these as the division series will be wrapping up. But so those are my picks. I'm going to go with Atlanta. I'm going to go with the Dodgers. I'm going to go with the Astros. And on my upset special, I'm going with the Cleveland Guardians. That's right. The Yankees are going down. I'm probably way off on that, but you know what? I got the faith in Tito Francona. Go Guardians. Hey, you're watching the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network. Follow me on YouTube. You can look back at all of my old shows, and not only here, but some of my high school preview shows as well. All the shows I've had over the years. We are powered up by the Belly Up Sports Network of podcasts. Great to be a part of the Belly Up Media, Belly Up Sports family. Really looking forward to some great things coming up with them. And again, blessed and honored to be a part of the Belly Up Sports family of podcasts. So we got our Captain Lou 6-pack challenge coming up here in about 5 minutes or so. And we'll get into that, the last portion of our program here tonight. Again, we'll be back again next week with another program. We're going to have a special guest with us as well next week. Good friend Jimmy Young's going to stop by. We're going to talk all things NFL, MLB playoffs, little Stanley Cup, who knows. Great banner with Jimmy all the time. I've been on his show a few times, and him and I are going to do a little football banner. Can't wait for that. That'll be next Tuesday. Check out my social media, which is at The Real Captain Lou on Twitter, or Louis Gamlin on Facebook, or the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page as well for that information. So anyways, NFL Week 5 is in the books. We're pretty much 1/3 of the way through the year. And my top question, is Philadelphia the best team in the league? They're the only undefeated team in the league. They went on the road to Arizona, and they were able to beat the Cardinals 5-0, baby. You know, they started out with a struggle against that high-powered defense of the Detroit Lions. You know, the Lions scored they're you know, and but they've rolled ever since. And are they my best team? I think they are. You know, Buffalo and Kansas City to me are right there. Those two teams are going to do battle this Sunday night or this weekend. Man, is that going to be a fun game to watch. But right now, my question to you is Philly the best team? Jalen Hurts, to me, I think he's the MVP. Right now, he is the NFL MVP. He's carried this team to a couple of wins. He carried them to that opening win against Detroit. Now, granted, he went up against a slapshod defense, if you will, roughshod, whatever, laughing stock, but he carried them. And I think he's done that in a couple other games as well. You know, his leadership ability, you know, his passing, I believe his passing game is improved. But to me, he is the MVP of the NFL through 5 weeks. Now, you got Josh Allen may have something to say about that at the end of the year, or Micah Parsons from Dallas, because their defense is really starting to come into its own the way they just destroyed the Rams last Sunday. But they got that test against Philly coming up, and we'll see just who is better. But right now, in my opinion, Philadelphia is the best team in the NFL. Kansas City and Buffalo are right there, but and they're going to face off against each other. And if Philly isn't the best team in the NFL, they're definitely the best team in the NFC, hands down. I mean, Dallas, to me, they're doing it on smoke and mirrors. Big love to Cooper Rush, CMU grad. Fire up chips. Just love how he's game managing the Dallas Cowboys to a 4-1 record. I never thought I'd be rooting for the Dallas Cowboys, but as long as Cooper Rush is quarterbacking, you got a soft spot for him. You know, Dak is definitely the number one quarterback there, but, you know, Philadelphia right now is, or Dallas with Cooper Rush at 4-1, Philadelphia at 5-0. You know, I look at some of these teams, you know, Minnesota Vikings, they're my, everybody, they were the sexy pick, and I got to give credit where credit is due. I didn't think they're going to be all that. But right now they are the sexy pick, and I think they are definitely the class of that division. They're one of the top 2 teams in the NFC. I mean, they're much better than Green Bay, and I think their defense is playing better than Tampa Bay. San Francisco kind of surprising me a little bit at 3-2, but they're always there. When are they not going to be a surprise? But show me in the playoffs. Show me again. And I think it's a blessing in disguise with Jimmy G. And in the AFC, you know, you talk about Buffalo and Kansas City at 4-1. You know, the rest of them, a lot of them at 3-2. Then you've got teams like the Houston Texans and the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Raiders. What the hell was that last night? I understand going for the win. I get that. But you're 1-3 with an opportunity to tie Kansas City and force them to kick a game-winning field goal. And maybe, whatever, or you go into overtime. You win that game, all of a sudden you're 2-3. Kansas City's 3-2. You're only a game out. Now you're 3 games in the loss column, and you're 2 games behind Kansas City in the division, and all the tiebreakers. Josh McDaniels, I just don't know. It's crazy in the AFC West. You've got 2 brand new coaches, and you're beginning to wonder if they really should be head coaches. Nathaniel Hackett and Josh McDaniels. What are they thinking? And plus, you know, throw in the coach from the Chargers, and the name escapes me right now. blunderhead calls. If you're Kansas City, you got to be thinking, you know what? Who Andy Reid's got to be thinking, man, he's got to be sitting at home eating his cheeseburger, just laughing, thinking, I don't have to worry about these guys. They're beating themselves. That's, and it's just mind-boggling to me. But I don't know. And that brings me to talk about mind-boggling and talk about heartbreaking. I got to do it. My Detroit Lions. Is the honeymoon over for Dan Campbell? I love Dan Campbell. I love his chutzpah. I love he wears his heart on his sleeve, this and that and the other. But for God's sakes, man, why did you not kick the field goal right before halftime? Would it made a difference? Maybe not. But why are you taking the possibility of getting points before getting a little bit of momentum going into halftime? And these going for it on fourth down, this crap, it's really starting to get to me, man. Okay, I get it. Analytics is starting to take over in the NFL, just like we talked about in baseball a little bit. If you're going to run a fourth down play, design something where maybe, not everybody in the world knows you're going to give it to Jamal Williams. You line him up as a fullback when he doesn't play fullback all year. Or if you're going to go for it on 4th and 2, you don't hand it off 7 yards in the backfield. Oh my God, man. It's, I do this to myself every year. I go in with I drink the Honolulu Blue Kool-Aid, and this year was exasperated with Detroit being on Hard Knocks. I'm thinking, this has got to be our year, right? This has got to be the year Detroit makes a difference. Wins maybe 8 or 9 games. Plays meaningful games in December. And now they're 1-4. And my Lions have got a daunting schedule coming up. They got to play Green Bay yet. I think they got to play Miami. They got Dallas. We could be staring at another 1-8 team again. And I look at, and you see the cliches. You see Dan Campbell. He's pounding his fist. He's sounded too much like Mel Tucker in Michigan State. Trust the process. We're a good team. I'm beginning to wonder. I really am beginning to wonder, man. I don't know anymore. And it's just over and over and over this cycle of coaches. I'm not saying fire anybody in the middle of the year. Dan Campbell, but he's 4-17-1. And, in this day and age where, instant gratification, I'm kind of bitten by that. But I've been through enough rebuilds in Detroit. 60 years, for me, 50. Well, I've started watching 52 years ago. I've been through 52 years of wait till next year. But I look at this, our defense, or Detroit's defense, is so embarrassing. And I think what really, really stuck a knife in my back this weekend was watching Matt Patricia, the offensive coordinator of the New England Patriots, who came over from them to be Detroit's head coach, and he was this defensive genius. And he shows up walking on water in Detroit, thinking he's all that in a bag of chips because he won some Super Bowl rings as an assistant. But he hasn't done crap as a head coach. And all he did in Detroit was cause a mutiny, pretty much. Him and Bob Quinn ship out Pro Bowl players on defense. And he leaves Detroit in shambles, and he goes over there, and all of a sudden he's an offensive genius. And they score 29 with Braden Zappi as their quarterback. Now, I get it. He was great at Western Kentucky. But spare me the injuries. I get it. Their first 5 defensive backs were hurt. You can't hold them to under 29 points. And worst of all, you can't score this high-powered offense. All of a sudden lays a stinking egg. Oh, man, Wayne Fontes is looking like such a genius. That's all I can say. And don't give me the Jim Caldwell could do better crap. I'm over that. We all know that he couldn't win a playoff game. He was the king of mediocrity. I'm not settling for that. Just keep in mind, though, before we pull the trigger on Dan Campbell, if we do, that means another rebuild. So I'm torn right now. But I'm just begging you, man. Use your head. Go into the break, go into this bye week, and start thinking about situational coaching and time management. Please, I'm begging you. You're killing me here. It makes me think back to the 70s when we used to sit and wonder what it was like to have a professional sports team that was worth a pinch of shit. And right now, Detroit doesn't have that. I thought maybe the Lions were as close as they could be to that, but they're not. So, okay, I got that off my chest. So I think it's time now for our Captain Lou six-pack challenge. Week number 2 here, the Captain Lou six-pack challenge. How this works, I've got some games coming up here. I've picked college and pro, 3 of each, against the spread. Your job is to pick those 6 games better than me. You think you can do that? Send me those picks on Twitter. Real Captain Lou, you can follow me there. Or send them to me on the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page. Or shoot me an email, sweetlou1965@yahoo.com. 9 people beat me last week. They are in the drawing at the end of the year for some great prizes. Visa gift cards, Fanatics gift cards. We've got them. And I tell you what, it's going to make it fun right after the first of the year. The day after the national championship game, that's when we do the drawing. So those folks are in already. It's your chance right now to get in on that. And some of those I know will send their picks in again to try to beat me. So again, you have to beat me. I take all ties. I was 2-4 last week. Not very good. Usually how it starts for me. First few weeks, I get my ass kicked, and then I usually get on a hot streak. But it's a lot of fun. We've had great interaction with this over years, so a little bit of a chance for you to participate in the show. So let's get going. First game of the Captain Lou six-pack challenge. NC State, we're going to go college, at Syracuse. They're on the road. They're getting 3.5 points in this one. I don't trust Syracuse yet. Who have they beaten? Yeah, I know they're undefeated. They're ranked. But North Carolina State's played a little more tougher of a schedule. They beat Florida State. They hung with Wake Forest and Clemson. Syracuse is going to have to prove it to me that they can win before I pick them in any of my challenges. That's why I'm going to go with NC State plus 3.5 on the road. Give me the Wolfpack plus 3.5. So next up, here's one that I don't normally do this, but I'm going to pick a Michigan game. I don't do it for on my DraftKings or anything. I don't pick Michigan games. I don't pick the Lions, but I'm going to pick them here. Penn State plus 7 at Michigan. This is a big test, obviously, for both teams. Penn State, I don't really think they've been tested all that much. Yeah, they went down and played Auburn. They beat them pretty handily, but Auburn isn't much. Michigan, they've been on the road the last couple of weeks. They beat a game Maryland team. They went to Iowa, where they always have problems. They were able to score some points there. I like what J.J. McCarthy's been doing. I like Sean Clifford. This is going to be a dandy game. Number 4 or number 5 against number 10. Penn State is getting 7 points. That's a lot. And I flip back and forth. But you see the Michigan paraphernalia on this. I mean, I think I would be kind of a hypocrite if I went against them. I'm going with my heart on this one. Give me J.J. McCarthy. Give me Blake Corum. Give me Michigan laying the 7 at home against Penn State. I think it's going to be like a 28-20 game. Michigan's going to pull away in the end, but it's a noon kick, so you'll be able to watch that one early. And so it'll be a great way to start. The weather's going to be chilly in Ann Arbor. I think it's going to be just like it was last week, about 50 degrees at game time. Unfortunately, we got to listen to Gus Johnson again, but I digress. I'm taking Michigan laying the 7. Next up, we're going to go to the Big 12. Oklahoma State and TCU. Oklahoma State's getting 3.5 at TCU. TCU's legit. I get it. But they've played some great games. Kansas, obviously, they beat them. Oklahoma, they boat rocked Oklahoma. But who hasn't? Well, Nebraska hasn't. I get it. But that was earlier in the year. Oklahoma State, I think that I just like how they're playing right now, too. This is going to be a shootout. I could see TCU winning this one on a last-second field goal. I could see this a 51-48 game, like I know both teams are capable of doing. You could see 1,000 yards of offense in this one. But 3.5 points to me is a lot. So I'm going with Oklahoma State in this one. I'm taking Mike Gundy. I know he's not 40, but he's a man. And I'm taking the Cowboys in this. I'm going with Oklahoma State plus 3.5. So there's my college picks right there. If you think you can pick these 3 games better than me, make sure you write them down. NC State plus 3.5 is my pick. I'm taking Michigan -7, and I'm taking Oklahoma State plus 3.5. All right, let's go to the pro side right now. First game on the docket, the New York Football Giants hosting Baltimore. Baltimore is a 5.5-point favorite on the road at New York. Are the Giants for real? You look at the standings again. The New York Football Giants, they're 4-1. Who would have thought? They're tied for second with Dallas. Baltimore, 3-2. You talk about a Jekyll and Hyde team. They look good some weeks. They look bad. The Giants are rolling. Brian Daboll's got them playing really good. I love Brian Daboll as a head coach. I'm not a Giants fan. You all know that. I've said it a million times. But I like the Giants in this one. Am I the kiss of death? Maybe. 5.5 points at home, a home dog, where you can't trust Baltimore. Lamar Jackson's great. They have no running game. And I think New York can control that. New York's defense, they've been playing better. I like the Giants. I'm taking the Giants laying the points in this one. Give me the New York Football Giants plus the 5.5 at home versus the Ravens. Next up in the Captain Lou 6-Pack Challenge, Buffalo and Kansas City. 2 of the best teams in the NFL. 2 of the top 3 teams. Right there with Philadelphia. Kansas City coming off a big win against Las Vegas. Vegas went for 2. They didn't make it. Kansas City escaped. Patrick Mahomes is playing lights out. He's right up there as an MVP candidate along with Jalen Hurts in my book. And 4 touchdown passes last night to Travis Kelce really helped my fantasy football teams because I got them both in each of my 2 big teams. Buffalo, what can you say about Buffalo? They're right there as well, 4-1. This is going to be one hell of a game. Can't wait for this one. Kansas City is a 3.5-point favorite. A 3.5-point dog at home against Buffalo. I'd love you, Buffalo. As Chris Berman always says, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Well, in this case, nobody's going to circle the wagons like the Kansas City Chiefs. They're at home getting 3.5. I'm taking Kansas City getting the points. It could be another close game, but I'm taking Kansas City. And finally, Monday Night Football, Dallas and Philadelphia. Dallas is a 5-point underdog coming into Philadelphia. The question right now, is Cooper Rush going to play? Or is it going to be Dak Prescott? Philadelphia's on a roll, man. 5-0. Big win on the road, as I mentioned, against Arizona. Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, the running attack, the passing game coming into form. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. The defense is playing better. I don't know how the hell Dallas is doing it. Their defense, that's how they're doing it. Their defense is really stepping up. And, of course, all-world CMU quarterback Cooper Rush. But I just, the luck's got to run out, doesn't it? I'll give Dallas credit. They're 4-1. That's great. Again, their defense, I think, has really played a lot into this one. But I'm taking... I'm rolling with Philadelphia. I'm going to lay the 5. I think they're going to go to 6-0. There you go. My picks are on the bottom of the screen. They're scrolling right now. Give me the Eagles. I'll lay the 5. I think they're going to win 28-17 over Dallas. I think they could put some points up. Either that or 21-10. But it's going to be an entertaining game to watch. Dallas and Philadelphia next week. Well, there you go. There's my Captain Lou 6-pack challenge right there. There are my picks on the bottom of the screen. NC State plus 3.5 at Syracuse. Give me Michigan laying the 7 at home against Penn State. I'm going to take Oklahoma State plus 3.5 at TCU. I'm going to take the Giants at home getting 5.5. I'm going to take Kansas City at home getting 3.5. And I'm going to take Philadelphia beating them Cowboys. I'm going to lay the 5. So what you need to do, again, what you need to do, if you want to be a part of this game, send me your picks. Follow me on Twitter at The Real Captain Lou or the Captain Lou Extravaganza on Facebook, or send them to me via email, sweetlou1965 at yahoo.com. Well, hey, that's going to do it. The NHL season has started. Give me the Oilers and the Leafs in the Cup. It's going to be all Canadian Stanley Cup. And I believe that the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to get off the schneid and win the Stanley Cup. But the Red Wings are going to make the playoffs. 2 bold statements right there. We'll have more in-depth coverage of the NHL next week. We'll do a breakdown of it, find out who we think is going to be the Stanley Cup champions. But I'm going to go all stand. That one's for you, Rasty McGibbon. Give me the Leafs over the Oilers in 6 for Lord Stanley Cup, and it's going to go back to Canada. Well, that's going to do it. Thanks, everybody, for joining me tonight on the Captain Lou Extravaganza here on the Captain Lou Sports Network. Again, we want to thank the Belly Up Network, the Belly Up Network of podcasts for letting me be a part of their family. Thank Mike and Blaine and all the folks behind the scenes there as well. And we want to thank you, the viewer, for taking time out to watch here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza. Well, until next time, it's Captain Lou saying, keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining me here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza.